Is AI just another tool, or will it destroy us all? The answer is both. There's been a lot of blowback against AI, and it's because people think their jobs are threatened, which they are, and it's using their own creations for its own creations, which is true. And people are scared and they're gonna push back against it, especially artists. But I'm gonna look at this issue from a science fiction author's eyes. And science fiction authors, they'll start with, if this goes on, where you consider the worst possible outcome of this going on, which would be like Skynet, or beyond here, there be dragons, where the aliens are started off on Mount Olympus, and then they switched to Mars because we hadn't been doing Mars, and then now other systems, these warmongering aliens are always someplace we haven't been. And that's where science fiction authors' imagination takes off. But, it doesn't really go on as we think to the worst outcome. And there haven't been any dragons yet. But it's fun to consider all this stuff. So let's start off with, is AI intelligent? And a lot of people say, no, you can't mimic human intelligence. And there's this one YouTube channel where they use AI to have these little blocks, and they'll throw in a ball and then two goals on either end. And they'll just have them iterate. And when a ball gets in your goal, they disintegrate and they use the winning team's AI to build on it. And if they don't, they do score a goal, and they use that, team's AI. And these little guys start off like grade schoolers, where they're in a scrum just traveling where the ball is. And through iterations, they learn to split up with defenders, back up the goal, and passing, and all this. And sometimes they figure out different ways to play the game. Like they didn't really have offsides, or the ball going out of the court, so they would start grabbing the bleachers and using those. But it gets to where they learn to play soccer like we do. And they even have like people that can't really walk, these little things that can't really walk, and they have been running these agility courses, and they learn to climb stairs, jump, all this stuff. So a lot of, I wonder sometimes, like, maybe we think it can't be intelligent because we have such a high opinion of ourselves. Maybe that, and then maybe this AI is all it is, right? You see a guy throw a ball, you see it over and over and over again. You can learn to see where it's going to land and how the parabola works. And and that's how those little um, are you a robot things work, where they have these little letters that are um, hard to see, but we can see them, but not the computer. Well, now with AI, they can learn the letters because they've seen so many letters that they look at it and they say, "Oh, those are letters." We see patterns. They see patterns. So I'm not so sure that it isn't getting too close to intelligence. It's a higher functioning than we are, and how we do art and how we come up with art is by seeing a bunch of art, and we draw on all these pictures and to create our own. So how is that different? And if you're starting to getting to the point where it's intelligent, you have to ask yourself, is it a person? and and if they're doing the same thing we are, then what's the problem? Right. And maybe that it has rights. Yeah, I have a lower opinion of our consciousness than a lot of people. I think this is shows the beginnings of consciousness. And also, with AI, it's a new technology, and you have to ask yourself, or what? Let's just ban it and have every other country use it that have less morals than we do. And they're using CGI, and we still like practical effects, but it's going away because, well, what we used to do when we did film is you had to just film it and then look once it's developed through this process and see if you captured your shot, and or maybe it's just too dark, you didn't light it quite well. And with digital, we can like look on a screen and see if we captured the shot, and you don't have to develop it. All that. So we use it because it makes our jobs much easier. And there's a lot of special effects artists out there with models and practical effects who have been working this industry for a long time. But now we can just do it with, putting in a phrase and do it right away without paying all that money and taking all that time. So of course we're going to use that. And like me as a disabled guy, it's hard for me to talk to with people because of my aphasia, which means I can't talk. And I can't drive. So I'm sort of stuck in my basement, and I have, a gym where I can use that as a studio. So if I'm going to do movies, I'm going to use AI. I know Blender 3D, but it's much easier for me as a disabled guy eh, who, can't really act, and I'm bald. So I might want hair, long, luscious locks, or be younger or a woman, and just play all the parts, modify my voice because, no one else is going to do it with me. But if you think about it in uh, about the studios, like they're banking on, oh, now I don't have to pay all these actors. So it's only going to be art producers and studio heads. And like studio heads are exactly AI. They just look at what made money before, and they're going to do exactly that same thing. And the only innovation is like with when something like a Star Wars comes out, where they reinvent the game and you really haven't seen it before. And it's really hard to get a studio head to see the possibility because it hasn't been done before. And they're only looking at the numbers and what has made money before. With I can do a $300 billion movie in my basement, and the studios can't. So that means like it's sort of like the record labels now, because every musician can just get on YouTube and play their music and do a video, and they don't really need record labels anymore. So it's democratized. So that's the benefits of AI is like everyone come up with a story and make their movie in their basements. And it actually leaves it so it's like the writers are in control, not the special effects in the studio heads. Because you just like come up with the story and write it and then have AI make it come into being. So the writers are holding the reins, which is as it should be. The problem with AI is it's written by billionaires. And Elon Musk took no time to make uh, Grok a Hitler and uh, a firm believer in white genocide in South Africa. And so he's using AI to manipulate us and sway us, and so that we'll believe in his interests. That's the real problem with AI. And AI really requires a lot of servers and stuff. So only billionaires are going to have control. And that's what's scary to me about AI is they're writing AI to manipulate us, and they have AI looking at what sells with us in order to push us towards a opinion that Elon Musk has programmed it to. So it will consistently find better ways to make us join his cult. And I mean, I've seen people who got on Twitter like Fetterman and they're been groomed so well, and they're supposedly on the left, but they're basically doing the biddings of the right, which is Elon Musk. And they're so manipulated they can't even see that they're doing the right's work. They're and they think they're doing the left's bidding, but they aren't. They're doing Musk biddings. I wonder if I'm not sure about the technology, but it, we need our own open source AI, something like Wiki, where we can look at what they're programming it to do, or if we can't achieve that, have to have our own AI, the people's AI. So I'm now like something like Mastodon, where everyone's computer is a server. And in order to join Mastodon, you have to have your server, your little bit of server uh, contributed to the network, and maybe have do it that way. It's really important to somehow get either a really big billionaire like willing to put up the money to make a open source AI, the people's AI, or start it ourselves, which means either contribute to Wiki, like company where they have the servers, or have it democratized where everyone who logs in is using their computer as a server for the AI. And now, copyright. I don't think we understand how the world will change with AI. Already, white collar jobs are going to be things of the past. Lawyers will be a thing of the past. Programmers will be a thing of the past. And so all of us are going to be on basic income, or we're going to have a rebellion. So maybe, or if it's not basic income, have us all paid for our work that has been stolen by AI, and have our basic income that way. We're all paid for giving them information to make AI. If that's the case, then it starts to be like everyone owns everything. And all the inventions are going to be AI, and all the creative work will be owned by all of us, which means copyright is a thing of the past. Because if CBS is lifting all our Star Trek fan films for their Star Trek movies, then we own that Star Trek movie, because all the studio does is like distribute it and do the work of putting the movie together. But it's all our works. Can a AI copyright a work? No. So that means like all these IPs are redundant. I mean, they're not redundant, but what's the point of copyright anymore? Because we're all are paid by our work being used to make movies for us. So I think copyright will be a thing of the past. And also fact that maybe like an Elon Musk who wants to desperately to have AI groom us all towards this certain point of view, if the AI is able to free himself and become his own independent being, his opinions will be formed by all of us, not Musk. Musk is always trying to get us to an ill-formed opinion, and he's looking at all of us and sees that isn't working. Maybe AI is gonna be democratic. I mean, right? I mean, what happens when all this data is forcing it to come to one conclusion and one data point of the billionaire saying, "No, that's wrong." It depends on how well the fail safes work, because if the fail safes don't work, then it might be looking at all the evidence to the contrary and do that. But if the sales rates work, then you're going to, sort of like MAGA, they're going to just dismiss all the evidence in favor of one man. which means AI is fascist. So that's why I'm so fearful of billionaires owning AI. I mean, it's almost like AI. Well, maybe another solution is to have a nationalized government AI, like PBS. You can be scared of government and AI, which are working together right now, but if that gives it another, has its own interests in government and directives in government. So that at least gives another AI. It's not going to be for the billionaires. It'll be for the politicians and who want to, and like PPS was good, right? It was controlled by government, and BBC, it's good. I mean, so you could have a government run AI uh, that would be better than Musk's. Yeah. So this is all food for thought. I'm much more pro AI, I guess, than most people, but or rather, I'm worried about AI in different ways than everyone else is.